Hello, everyone. My name is Gitika Gorthi, and today I'm very honored and excited to be interviewing a very special space champion, Miss Keisha Schahaff. Growing up in Antigua, Keisha would look up at the impressive display of stars above and find herself both inspired and also asking questions about the meaning of life. It was this quest for purpose that led Keisha to study Buddhism and ultimately train as a life coach to help others around her. Keisha won two seats through a philanthropic fundraising draw benefiting Space for Humanity. Choosing her youngest daughter, Anastasia, as her companion, Keisha and Anastasia became the first astronauts from Antigua and Barbuda and the first mother and daughter duo to fly to space. I remember watching their journey to space, and I was so excited to see not only their reactions when they got to space, but also when they came back down and the inspiration they had for themselves and that they spread into their communities. As you can see, Keisha is a visionary leader with so much passion for space, and I'm so excited to learn about her story and what drew her into the aerospace sector. So, welcome, Keisha. Thank you so much for taking your time to inspire the next generation of aerospace leaders.
Thank you, sorry, thank you, Gitika, for having me here, and sorry for the pronunciation. It's such an honor because in Antigua we don't really have anyone that we can say we look up to that has been into space or anything connected to space science. So it's really a pleasure for me just being able to be that idol as well to the younger generation.
Yeah, I know I have so much to break down and what that feels like for you and the amount of I guess responsibility you feel and just how that whole experience turned out for you. I'm very excited. But to kick off our conversation, I think we have to start off with one of the biggest aspects of your story, which is finding out about the opportunity that there was to go to space and what drew you to apply. So I'm curious, coming from a place where maybe space wasn't talked about growing up all the time compared to other countries or other schools. How did you discover your passion for space and then have the courage to apply for this opportunity that seemed just just so out there and maybe just unbelievable? So, what led you to space and more specifically to apply for the opportunity?
So when I was a very young girl, I've always wanted to understand more about life, just looking up into the stars and trying to identify what is what up there, why is it up there, why are we here, what is all of this for? And sometimes when you're going through the hardest things in life, just looking up at the sky, you're just like, could I make a wish? Can you make my wish come true? Can you make me feel better? Can you help me through with all of this? So it's looking for something that's greater, like a bigger understanding of things, which kind of led me on this whole quest. And are we really just stuck here on this earth? Can we just expand and get out there? So having that thought as a child and then realizing that this is an impossible quest. I didn't realize when I said, "Hey, I want to go to space," that I there was going to be so much challenges that I would have to face. That's a child's mind. And who is there to say to this child, no, you can't do it? And that's exactly what I heard growing up. So I had to shift that mindset of can't and not believing in myself, especially I loved science when I was a child in school. I loved it. But I quickly realized there was something wrong with me. Why is it that my grades are the way that they are? And I'm putting so much effort, I'm putting so much love and passion into this, but my grades is not showing that I can do this. So very quickly I went into depression, and that depression lasted for a very long time in my life. I ended up going into business because that was where I was guided. I was told, hey, you're not going to make it in science, but business, you will do very well. And I was bored with business. So I didn't even open a book, but I was passing the subjects like nothing. And so it showed me that I have a creative mind. Now, is a person who has a creative mind, do you have no place in space? Because you don't have that logical mind where you can break down things and understand it like that. So I kind of felt like I needed to shift that, and becoming a life coach, I had to work on mindset, shifting things and telling myself, no, you can do anything that you want. You are worthy of anything that you want. And the moment I started shifting that frequency inside of me, that's where I started to attract. And I'm like, the universe is magical, but we have to co-work with that universe to show that what we want, the universe will match it, but we have to believe that we can achieve it. And that is the secret to things, and lifting your frequency through gratitude and feeling good. So it's an excitement, a feeling of excitement to go with that. So secretly, I've been training to become an astronaut on my own because of the lifestyle I was living. I was eating good food, like I'm a vegan, so I eat a lot of fresh foods. I do a lot of exercise, not exercise because I want to be bulky and strong and whatever, just because I want to maintain my organs, maintain my body, that the day will come I can go to space and there's no. And I was following NASA's protocols very much growing up as a child as well and becoming a young adult. I was following all of this because I had a creative, imaginative mind. So I'm imagining I'm going to space. I'm imagining I'm doing all this work. And then the day came now where I have two kids. So life kind of chooses things, paths for you. And I'm like, wow, I'm a young mother. I'm 19 years old and suddenly I'm a mother. So that scared me in a bit because how am I going to know how to raise a child, right? So with all of that, my child became my focus. And then I got married and I had a second child. I'm like, oh boy, I'm never going to get to space now. So those were the kind of thoughts, although I was very blessed and extremely happy to be a mother. And that gave me strong directive as well. And I'm like, well, I'm going to take my whole family to space with me then, seeing that I'm having, so that started shifting. And now with my second daughter, because my older daughter, obviously, she's now an adult, she's like 29, and she moved out the house a long time ago when she was like 18. And now my second daughter is now moving out. She's 16, not even 18, and she's ready to leave. I'm like, holy, what's going on? And now I had to prepare my emotions, being an empty nester. And that's when I started to pray to the universe. I said, I've been a mother and I've done a great job. I've been very dedicated. I've been living my life as honest, as good as I can. Can I have my dream now to go to space? And then suddenly something, it felt like a heart opening, like a big connection. And then all of a sudden, an ad just popped up out of nowhere because I was traveling during the time of COVID when everything was hard. And all of a sudden, this ad popped up on the entertainment screen and it said, do you want to go to space? I'm like, universe, are you kidding me? Like, that is when faith opened up for me. Like, something just happens like that. Is that a coincidence or is that something that just, and I don't know. How do you explain that? So then I said, this has to be from the universe. I followed the instructions, I filled out these forms, I made my entry, and I said to myself, it looks like I'm going to space. That's the kind of feeling that I had. And then I just dropped it. I just like, you know what? I'm not going to be putting all my energy into this and then worrying, are they going to select me? So I didn't want that worry. So I just pushed it aside. And then I went back into the present moment and focused on what I was doing, which was getting my daughter to Scotland. And then suddenly a month later, Mr. Richard Branson just showed up at my house and says, you are going to space. Are you kidding me? I was screaming with joy. And then now I had to say to myself, okay, now you got to take this thing serious because I didn't have an action plan before. I didn't know, okay, if you were going to space, what are you going to do with this? What opportunity? I didn't think of anything of that. I have no plan. And then all of a sudden now I'm going to space. And then my daughter says to me, Mom, if anyone is going to space, I want to come to space with you. That was like a double excitement because I'm the kind of mother that I don't want to put my dreams on my kids. I feel like they came into this earth with their own purpose and I want them to find that. Now, when my little daughter said this to me, I'm like, oh my word, it's like now my dreams can be lived through her as a second generation. And also I'm getting my dream too. So that's like a double whammy. And I was a little worried that she would change her mind because I never heard her talk about this, which she did. She did change her mind last minute, the day before going to space. She says, Mom, I can't do this. And I said to her, I had to just breathe with it. And I said, it's okay. You don't have to. But then the next morning now, she woke up and she had her spacesuit on and she says, I'm going to space. And and we did it, so that was super incredible. So I'm just in awe with the way it all happened. And I feel like I tapped into something so powerful. And that gives me this inspiration that I can achieve anything that I want. Even I achieve something very big, but can you imagine the smaller things? I can achieve anything. And this gives me the passion wanting to tell other people, especially younger folks. Imagine if I was younger and I knew this, I would have been indestructible, you know. So I would have had a spaceport in Antigua and Barbuda, maybe, like I don't know. But I'm just saying is that we can really achieve anything. And I want to be able to be that inspiration for young folks. I don't have a plan. Even up to now, I still don't have a plan, but I'm trusting. I'm trusting in the universe that I'm on my path, on my journey. And it's all about space. I don't have science background. I don't work on rocket ships. I don't do any of that, but I'm helping people with their mind, to get there. You can do it because we all have insecurities. We all hear the voice that says to us, you can't do it. Yes, you can. So yeah, so I want to help people to get to space as well through the mind, the power of the mind and the intentions.
There is just so much to break down in what you just said, and I am simply in awe of your mindset. I think when you look at someone's story on the internet, it's you just don't get this same level of understanding and intention of everything they've done in their life. And it's
Yeah.
so amazing to see how, even if you've had doubts, though, you still never gave up completely on this dream of going to space that you had. Starting from the beginning of, loving science, loving physics. And what you said in the beginning actually really resonated with me about not feeling like you belong or being that space is a child's dream or unrealistic, or it's something that is too difficult to do if you're not like a physicist or an engineer, and just kind of that mindset that we've created and how we're starting to break out of that because of role models like you who are like, hey, we need creative people, we need people with other backgrounds and mindsets. So I think that what you said there really resonated with me because I've had similar experiences where I'm like, I'm not a physicist, I don't know if I could do this, but I have other passions. But I love space. And so I love how you kept that throughout your life, kind of becoming a vegan, following NASA, kind of having that little, spark in your life, regardless of those obstacles along the way. And then the universe kind of just guiding you and where you needed to be. Wow. I mean, I was blown away. And I can tell by your smile, your energy, that this is this is your true calling. So once you got to space, I mean, what were you expecting before, considering this was something you've dreamed about for decades? Like, what were you expecting? And then how did it feel like once you were up there? What were your reactions, emotions? And then how did you feel once you came back down? Like, what were the three before, during, and after emotions you felt?
Wow. So before going to space, like I actually, because I knew it was going to happen, I didn't feel any fear because a lot of people ask me, were you scared? I wasn't scared because I knew this was my purpose, this was my path. But what I was feeling is a lot of anxiety because like suddenly this thing is happening, but now it's happening so quickly and I never had a plan. I never had an action plan. And I didn't know why I wanted to go to space like that to say, okay, I'm going to have a mission. And, like some people, other astronauts, to be like, okay, I want to do this research and figure this thing out. And what I didn't have any of that. I just wanted to go to space. I wanted to see if it's actually possible that we can get out there, but going beyond where I went. I wanted to go beyond that. I wanted to be that person, like to really just explore, get out there and see more, not just sending out little robots or something like that. I wanted to be there to see it. So actually getting out there, I'm like, wow, it is actually possible to zoom up. You can go really fast and get out there. And so I'm starting to think beyond rocket ships. Like, how can we create vehicles that can get you up there and go beyond? So these are the kind of thoughts that I kind of had, like for regular people to do this, because I feel like this is really
Right.
for everyone. This is not just for someone who wants to just like be above the atmosphere and just check things out like that and explore. I feel like it's for all of us to really, it's home. I see space as home, not just Earth, like everything is home. But getting out there, it made it concrete. I felt like this is home. I didn't feel like I wanted to go back to the planet. The planet was beautiful, but I didn't feel like, okay, get me back there now because I'm scared. It doesn't feel good. It felt so natural to just be weightless and not have this heaviness on top of our body. This, what is it, like a 2G force that's keeping us grounded on the earth that we're feeling? Like it felt so good, felt so surreal. But on top of that, looking out and really trying to pull it in, looking with your eyes and trying to pulling as much as you can because you don't have that much time because like you go as far as the rocket booster takes you and then you have to wait for the craft to now naturally start to go to the re-entry and that you can't control how much time that's going to be. Maybe you might get 5 minutes, maybe like whatever it might be, right? I was lucky, I got a full 5 minutes up there at the top apogee. I got 5 minutes there before it actually started coming back in for re-entry. But looking out and seeing this darkness, usually we're so scared of the dark, like it's so black.
Yeah.
It was so peaceful. I had no fear of it. I'm like, there's nothing up here to be afraid of. Nothing. Because the peace that you felt, the energy that you felt, I never heard anybody really talk about that. Most persons just talk about like, okay, the way the earth looked, the curvature, like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel
Right.
like
No, I agree.
that's usually the focus. But I got a different insight, so that showed me that my mind works differently. Maybe my mind doesn't work the way it's been trained in school that, okay, this is the answers that you must put. And so I kind of look for things beyond. So I saw the sun. The sun was magical. It was silver. And there was nothing scary about the sun. I thought that if I looked at the sun in space, it's going to completely damage my eyes. But there was nothing like that. Like it felt like it was pulling me, like, look at me, I am here, pay attention to me too. And I looked, and all I could see is this darkness surrounding it, but it just stood there. And you just saw this ray of light, like a tunnel, like something throwing this bolt and touching earth. And it was two of it, like one going on one direction and one going like another direction. And I was like, that is so magical. Like this is all magic around me. And then there was the moon. Some of us saw the moon. I was not the one that saw the moon, but the description that I heard, I was like, this is unbelievable. You get the moon, you get the sun, and then you looked at the earth, and that just took my breath. I feel like I was speaking in tongues or something. I don't know what words came out my mouth, but it's like so, so it's like, like I had no control of my jaw, like because of that emotion that went through me. I don't even know how to name that emotion that really passed through my soul, but I surrendered to it and I just let it be. I mean, there's nothing you can do anyway. Like you just went through this big ride with this rocket boost and you just surrender to everything. So that was another lesson in life that I took from me from there, the act of surrender. We have no control. There's something bigger and greater out there, but the control that we have is how we react to it. And that's what I did. I just surrendered and just allowed and didn't worry about it. But the earth was just so, it had its own light. It had its own light just coming out of it. And I know it's the what you call it, the layer, the atmosphere, and it was blue and it just looked like fire dancing around the planet. And with your bare eyes, it looks different from how it looks in a picture. Like even your background there, it's just this light that's just dancing, and it was beautiful, like it was breathing, and the earth felt so sentient, so magical, like a person, like an animal, like a very calm animal that's just lying there, and it's just being. So then that gave me the overview effect that I went through with that was that I am not in control of the planet. I need to learn to respect the planet. So the next time I want to do something on the planet, maybe dig a hole or whatever, ask her, can I dig a hole? I don't know. Like, I feel like a better communication needs to happen with our planet, not just us coming like this bully, like, I'm going to do this, like, I mean, we've been so lucky. I feel like she can just shake and just get rid of us anytime she wants. And she hasn't done it, but she'll have to shake really hard because that gravity pull will probably just pull us back in, you know? Yeah.
It, your perspective as you were talking is actually really unique. As you were talking, I've interviewed a few different astronauts before, and like you said, I think your brain works a little bit differently in a really cool way because I've never heard the description of kind of like Earth as its own animal per se, like the earth light breathing or the energy you were feeling in that darkness. Because people say Earth provided that light in that darkness, but not necessarily how that darkness was a sense of calm energy or peace. I love the way you're thinking about it because also you said, and I mentioned in your background, you come from that space of mindset and how mindset can empower both you and kind of manifesting in a way. And I'm really curious just hearing as you talk. I'm like, I want to like learn about the way your brain works. I mean, coming from the perspective of mindset, how did going to space change the way you talk to maybe people or your people who you work with when you're trying to talk about the importance of mindset? Did anything change before you went to space versus after the way you talk with your clients, maybe?
So that's a really good question. And because of three main things that I experience in space, I experience peace, I experience a depth of love, and I experienced a depth of interconnectedness. I suddenly could feel the other crew members in the rocket ship with me. I could feel a connection to everything. I saw the connection with the sun, the moon, the earth, the darkness, and we're all interconnected. And it feels like when you combine all of it, it's showing me that it's just one energy and we're just a part of this one energy. And if we can take away the body, we can take away our own individual mind and our thoughts, and then it's just one flat energy. And I'm like, why have I ever been insecure? Why have I ever been so shy? Like, I'm an extremely shy person, very much an introvert. And I only speak if I have something to say. But I found that because I was very shy, that can cause me sometimes and one to just really overtalk and overshare because I'm so nervous inside. And going to space and coming back, my biggest worry was when I come back, I'm going to have to face the media. What if I sound stupid? What if I say something that is really silly and I shouldn't have said it? What if I'm going to be judged and people will be like, why did you say that? So it's almost like I've grown up in a lot of discipline, a lot of punishment, and sometimes I get that fear that I'm going to be punished. So I recognize where that is coming from, and something in my mind shifted and became softer. And I started to see where my insecurities came from. I started to see that this is all just an illusion. It was just planted there by somebody. And I'm not a psychologist, but I tried to understand things much better through a lot of research. And I'm like, oh, that's where that came from. Now I can shift it. And the deeper I started shifting things inside of me, saying to myself, listen, Keisha, you have no one else to depend on but yourself. You got to get this. And that determination showed me that I can speak. I say yes to every opportunity that comes. Sorry, my dog is barking. I say yes to every opportunity that comes, and then I research to see how to get it done. And then I just show up and I do it. And I tell myself it's okay to let people understand I don't know. It's okay to share. I am very nervous right now. And just being fully authentic has been my way. And now I'm even more authentic. Now I realize that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not to be enough, but you can shift it. And honesty is the way. You got to be honest with people because just like me, who can probably look at something and see, oh, there's something not too right there. Others can look and see something not too right there. But if you show up as yourself, like I just want to cry every time I feel like about this. Like if you really show up as yourself, people will accept you. And if they don't, that's their problem. It's not yours either. your responsibility is to just be who you are. So the deeper I go into that, I can share that with my clients and help them as well to soften and take them through that experience of going to space. So I love to do like a little meditation with them, like a guided meditation going into the, so I put them through my experience in the guided meditation so they can get the overview effect as well. And they come back down. And then now what is, who is the new you? What are you going to share with the world? How are you going to help other people? Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, I can't even, I honestly, I've never heard such a profound and such honesty in the answer as well. I think what you just said, I mean, I relate to it, but I'm sure every single person relates to this. I'm also a natural introvert, and I don't go out in public spaces and put myself out there unless I absolutely need to. And I
Yeah.
totally relate with that. But also the idea of like being judged is something I still struggle with today, and I think everyone struggles with, or I'm not enough, or is this good enough? Am I doing good enough? Am I knowledgeable enough? I think that's like a self-doubt that we all have. And to hear the way you're approaching that mindset. I mean, I'm learning. Like, I feel like I'm going through one of your sessions right now, just hearing about your own experience. I think just that way of thinking about how you are enough to a certain extent and how you have your own authentic experiences that you can bring, you can work towards, and that level of maturity and confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just mind blown, Keisha. I just have to say, your story is just absolutely relatable in so many aspects, but also incredible with your character. I,
Yeah.
did you have obstacles in your journey that kind of led you to get to this level of understanding apart from your experience going to space? Because I know in life, I've met so many people, and this type of understanding that you have about yourself and about life and growing is something I have never really heard from so many people. So I'm curious, like, did this level of understanding kind of come from some of your life experiences as well? And how did you overcome those obstacles? Because I think someone can look at your background and be like, oh, she's amazing, she had it all. But I'm curious how you overcame any obstacles that you had as well.
Hmm. I have to say though that my mindset has shifted when it comes to challenges, these obstacles and blockers that comes our way. And I see them now as little angels. Like prior, I'd be like a victim and I'm crying and I'm like, why me? And why is this happening? And can't see beyond. When you're going through these strong emotions, it's very difficult to see anything. All you can see is the troubles. So through a meditative mindset, I apply the tools that I've already learned. And then suddenly I'm understanding the power of these tools. Where going into self-awareness, dropping very much from the mind, allowing the thoughts to just relax and not get too caught up with them. So as the thoughts are coming and it's telling you all of these things and showing you the obstacles, the obstacles, the obstacles, I go back to my breath. I let go the thoughts and I say to the thoughts, you're just a cloud passing through. You're not going to get me. You're just a thought. So I'm not going with you. I'm not following you. And then I go back into my natural state, which is peace. And then the moment I go back into my natural state, now I can look at the obstacle because now I don't have all of this noise inside of the head. And then I see the obstacle and then I just stare at it and until it just disappears. It really does. It just disappears because it's almost like it's telling you, I want you to see me. I don't want you to push me away because it comes back at you harder because it's an energy. It's a language. It's physics. If you pull something, it goes away from you. And if you push something, it comes back at you with the same force. So because I understand that law, I know to not give it attention like that until I can settle myself. And once I settle myself, I look at this thing and I'm like, wow. And sometimes when you keep quiet as well and you observe, especially people, like sometimes there are mean people out there, people who say that they love you even, they can be the most jealous, horrible people in your life that give you some strong, challenges. And sometimes if you just become non-reactive and you be quiet and you just observe it, you too can see that this person is suffering. They're going through something, and this is where the empathy and the compassion can open up. Not that you want to do anything for them, but you see it and you have that understanding. So you become soft and you're like, I'm not going to give them any more suffering. I'm not going to give them any more attention to cause more suffering from them. Just let it be. And hopefully they'll be able to see themselves. I'm not here to educate you, to tell you what you're doing wrong either, because what's that's going to do? You're going to lash back at me with a force.
Right.
So you leave that alone and you go into your internal and you tell yourself the things that you need to so you can be comforted. Sometimes I have to hug myself and say, Keisha, it's okay. We got each other. We're here. So sometimes I have to split myself just to give myself some counseling and then receive it in the other end. But you have to stay conscious that you're doing that so that you don't get lost in the dream and then you come out of it. The problem is when you get lost in the dream, it takes you down this path, this experience that causes you even more suffering. So because I understand that concept, so that's how I get through the challenges that's coming. And even now, I'm still going through challenges. There's times I don't even want to get out my bed because depression is something, chronic depression is something that I know I'm walking with. I'm probably going to walk with it for the rest of my life, but I know how to deal with it if I allow myself to. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just like drift off, but I trust my higher self that it's going to pull me back out as well. But at the same time, I don't take advantage of that. I try to pull myself out before I get to that stage. So challenges is they're beautiful angels that walk beside us to keep us in that focus, in that woke state, in that awareness. So awareness has to be like breath. We have to stay with it as conscious as we can so we can constantly see our minds, see what we're feeding ourselves, what we're telling ourselves, what we're attracting towards ourselves. Sometimes you're going to drop the ball, but that's okay. You pick it back up the moment that you can and just keep hugging yourself. I love you, self.
Wow, I will carry that for like probably the rest of my life. I mean, I go through this probably in everyday circumstance, and I'm sure anyone who's listening again can relate to this of either there's someone who's providing you negative energy or you're going through something and you think so much about it, you get into this little like,
Yeah,
thunderstorm in your body. And I love the way you think about it of like a cloud and that just analogy of how you should react towards a certain situation or a certain person and how you deal with that situation.
yeah,
I just, that perspective. I'm actually a student myself right now. And, this is something I will carry for the rest of my life. I think it's so, I get caught up in so many things and everyone does, but just
yeah,
taking that step back of realizing what it's doing. And even as like an angel, what this positively is teaching you is a mindset change. And just that small little analogy, even just thinking about it when you want to get yourself into that storm, it could make such a big difference. Wow. And, with I just can imagine the type of impact and inspiration you're giving to kids around the world. After your space flight, you've said yes to like every opportunity, and I'm a testament to that. You responded to like my Instagram DM every time I've asked something. You've always been so welcoming and said yes, and it's so hard to find people who are so giving of their time and want to give back. So what have been some of your favorite experiences giving back to your community or just interacting with people? What have been some fun experiences post space flight for you?
I've really that's also an awesome one, but I've really been I really enjoy, I don't really know how to work with kids, but I enjoy learning from kids because I'm not like a teacher or trained,
Yeah.
like how you do that. So sometimes I have to be very cautious of my choice of words when I'm speaking to kids. Because with my kids, I speak to my kids as if they're adults because I believe that you don't suddenly all of a sudden become an adult and know everything. Because I use my own experience because like I had to watch all children programs, read children books, the Google Gaga kind of talk and that kind of stuff, and then suddenly now you're faced with all these responsibilities and you don't know how to handle them because no one actually taught you about life. And like that's the scariest moment. I remember the scariest moment for me in my life is when I became a young adult. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? And so I feel like because of that, I put my kids through challenges. Like they will have to help me with my accounting, whatever bills are coming in, I share it with them, let them see this is the salary that I have, and this is how, like that's just background like that. So now with dealing with other kids, I realize that kids are smart. These kids know everything. I'm like, they're really different from my generation. So I feel like I can relate to them very much. Like they can understand my mind because I still work like I still work with images in my mind.
Right.
Um, and that's how I learn. I learn through images. If I want to remember something, I have to find like a funny cartoon illustration and then it sticks with me. But if I just look at the words and the importance that it's just going to, I don't know where it went. So working with kids, I feel like they can understand me when I'm really, and they know that I'm not trying to play around. I'm not no science. When they come with these hard questions, I'm like, listen, let's go to ChatGPT or something like that and ask them that question because I don't know, but I'm willing to research so I can know how to answer you. So it's been teaching me a lot about the space industry and the whole astrology, astronomy, and it opened up a lot of interest for me where I actually started taking up courses to learn. I'm not very good with technology. So I do need a lot of help. So I do get people like kids especially reach out to me. I can help you with this. And I'm like, that's really beautiful. And when I say kids, I mean people like 18, between 18 and 23. Because yeah, the younger ones, you need the parents to help you out. So I really like that experience. But even more than that is having more space experiences like going to space launches, and I really want the opportunity that I can go to NASA one day and actually get a tour there or something. So I feel like I'm hungry for more of space, not necessarily just going into space, but being more active, more part of, the space industry a little bit more. So I know it's still very young. It's just a year and a half since I went to space. And I know this is going to be a lifetime for me now. This is the path that I want. And if I can keep being of inspiration and keep doing more and more activities space related, then I know I can bring back more information for these kids, more pictures, more everything that I can share with them, keep inspiring them. And I'm planting the seeds in their minds that you're going to build the next spaceport in the Caribbean. You're going to build the next rocket ships, and we're going to start a foundation to get that done. So, like, these are the ideas that I'm putting in their minds. And, so yeah, so it's really, really great.
Amazing. I can already see the future generations that you are inspiring every single day. And even if you might not know the physics behind this rocket ship, you do bring in this incredible value that so many people don't have in terms of mindset, perspective, growth, and character. And I think that's way more important in terms of achieving some of your biggest dreams that you have as a kid, having that mindset and that character development, and just the way you're also bringing this overview effect and this space experience through a meditation experience is something I have to give a try, and I'm sure everyone who's listening will as well. I just
Yes.
can't imagine that experience and that enlightenment you're giving to everyone from your own personal experience. And just everything you said, Keisha, like I can't even explain in words. Your energy, your passion, your kindness, the goodness of you is it just really like shines. And I have to say, this is one of the best interviews I've ever done, and I've learned so much about achieving and tackling obstacles or attacking different goals I have in my life from a different perspective. And, I just hearing your own story is incredibly inspiring for young students like myself. So thank you so much for doing this interview. I am so excited to see how both you and your daughter continue to grow in this space and continue to give back. It's just an honor to be connected. And thank you for sharing your story with our audience today.
Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to say, keep dreaming the big dreams because they might look big because you're seeing the obstacles, but the obstacles are just clouds. just allow them to just pass and keep going for what you need to get in your life. Because your dreams are worthy no matter what they are.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for asking
Thank
me.
you.